to the business. Means back to the trenches. You ain't even got a mention. I got vision. I got vision. Means back to the business. Means back to the trenches. You ain't even got a mention. I got vision. I got vision. I got vision. What? I got vision. Yeah.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Friday Night Live. We are coming to you from the Self-Made Sports Network, brought to you by Hybrid Promotions. We're just going to go ahead and get straight into it tonight. Wow.
It's a day that we kind of knew was coming eventually, probably for like the last 7 or 8 years. I was driving home from the Drake game, and I was kind of trying to think to myself, when was the first time we heard a rumor that Matt Campbell might be suited elsewhere? And I think obviously I've been doing a lot of scrolling of the Cyclone Fanatic message boards today, and someone, or the last like 36 hours, and someone said, along the lines of, we kind of knew this was coming, but we weren't ready for it. You could never be ready for it, and I don't think that we were totally ready for this to happen, because I don't think you can be. But I guess for those that don't know, it finally happened. Matt Campbell's gonna take his talents to State College and join the Penn State Nittany Lions.
Yeah, I know this is something we talked about a few weeks ago. Just rumors of coaches when we were talking about how Matt Rule may be the next coach. How you guys talked about Campbell and how you guys felt like he was going to stay home. How does this hit home for you guys today?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll go first, then I'll throw it to you, Josh. I'm sure you'll have a similar answer, but I mean, it's basically our childhood down the drains, basically, because it's one thing. Like, obviously, at some point later in the show, we'll talk about the next steps, but there was this whole culture behind Iowa State football that Matt Campbell had planted and cultivated and watered and grown, and it just all gets ripped apart. And it's not even just what happens on the field and the wins and the losses and the bowl games and the big games, but it's just that culture thing, the senior classes that have come and gone. You start to wonder, like, all of these really notable Cyclones that are like in the NFL, are they Iowa State guys, or are they Matt Campbell guys? Is Brock Purdy going to come around? Is Breece Hall going to keep coming around? Is Alan Lazard going to keep coming around? So that's kind of the little less obvious part about it, that really bums me out and really hits home. It's just kind of, it's this culture that was known nationally, and that we've really enjoyed and reaped the benefits from. So, Josh, I don't know if you had any other thoughts, but that's kind of where my mind goes initially.
Yeah, I guess right off the bat, I kind of got a lot of thoughts on it. It's you really hate to see him go. You can't blame him. That the timing just kind of happened to be the way it was, and it is what it is, and you can't be mad at him. You've seen him stretch Iowa State, 3 or 4 times now, to their beyond their maximum limits, and they just can't seem to get over that hump. The 11 wins last year, you kind of go through a little adversity this year. Now you're looking at, 9 if you win a bowl game. Who knows what happens next year? All that's great, but he ultimately has, bigger goals and bigger aspirations. And if that's what he wants to do, I mean, I'm going to be rooting for him to do well, because it only bodes well for us, in the long term. It's just, seeing all the 10-year the posts of, they just hired Matt Campbell and all that, and you think everything's cool, and then it got really quiet there for a while, and then it really kind of blew up late last night. Kind of felt, in a pretty good spot going to bed. Kind of woke up this morning, it was still pretty quiet. And then about around noon or so is when it kind of started really getting loud.
Yeah.
And, then you start hearing all the outside noise. And, before you know it, he's gone. And it just, I don't know, it sucks.
And one thing that I want to touch on, you kind of brought up, you kind of said something along the lines of you kind of don't blame him, and and kind of the timing of that of what you're talking about. And I agree with you on that, where there's no perfect time to leave a job, especially when, I guess, to kind of use a phrase that Matt Campbell likes to talk about. I'm sure this was a tough decision for him, because you're kind of luring hundreds of 18 to 22-year-olds, is the Matt Campbell phrase, to Ames, Iowa, and a lot of guys believe in you. And just a couple of days ago, it was National Signing Day, where you've got
Yeah.
these 17-year-old kids who have
Yeah, that's the really shitty thing about it.
signed a contract to come to Ames, Iowa, and I'm sure a lot of most of those guys are probably not going to be coming to Ames, and so it sucks. And I know that people like to throw the culture and some things that Matt Campbell has said, even very recently, but back in his face. And certainly I've kind of done that myself. But at the end of the day, like you said, there's just no perfect way to do this, and I think because of how this so quickly kind of came about, I do think that we can trust that Matt Campbell Matt Campbell was being genuine when he said those words, when he was talking about the 2026 signing class. I think he meant that. I think he was genuine in his words. It's just that this is just kind of how it turns out with the timing. So I'm sure people will be upset about that. I'm sure people will want to throw those words back in his face. And in a weaker moment, I've thought the same thing. But it'll be curious to hear what Matt Campbell says. Obviously, a couple of things that I think are notable. Obviously, Jamie Pollard held a little bit of a press conference, and one big quote that he had said that was that Matt Campbell owes Iowa State nothing, and I believe he had also said one big thing that I hope people take away is that Jamie Pollard basically said that when talking to Matt Campbell, Matt basically said, don't even go to the trouble of trying to sweeten the deal. Don't try to round up the donors. Don't try to do anything for me. And I thought that was a really honest thing for Matt to do. I'm sure Jamie didn't like that. Well, I'm sure it puts Jamie in kind of a helpless situation, which sucks. But at the end of the day, I know that Jamie Pollard's getting a lot of heat right now from a lot of notable people, but it kind of sounds like there's nothing much more he could have done.
Well, before we address that, I just wanted to say that man, I lost my entire train of thought. My bad. Otzelberger did say that Pollard did mention that he went to Otzelberger first to see what he thought about going after this guy, and he said if you can get him, go get him. They played that clip. Tonight. On Two Guys, which, by the way, we're actually following them right up. So thanks to them for the intro to this.
Yeah, that's something that I'm looking forward to. Obviously, I was preoccupied here the last couple of hours, so I'll definitely be spending the rest of my evening checking that out. It sounds like it was some pretty emotional, some pretty powerful stuff. So, but yeah, I guess kind of, I don't know. I guess, but before we get over to Rogers, just to kind of wrap things up on Campbell, I agree. I think I'll probably be rooting for his success. Obviously, unfortunately have a lot of experience, kind of seeing your head coaches get poached onto bigger and better things with my life as a Drake men's basketball fan. So I think Penn State is kind of a neutral enough place to me that I could probably root for him. Maybe I'll become a little bit of a Penn State fan. Who knows? I don't know. It probably, when it comes to that, it probably depends on who from Iowa State goes over there. Like, it's going to be hard to root against a Matt Campbell head coach Penn State team with Rocco Becht at quarterback, which I have a feeling is probably going to happen. But yeah, Matt Campbell gave us his best 10 years, and it just kind of what it was. We knew this was coming at some point. I'm getting an echo from somebody.
Yep. Vic, I think you
Go upstairs
got
behind
an echo in the background there.
and grab me the Bluetooth headphone.
Are we good?
Good.
I think so. Yeah, it's still there, but we'll be all right. Actually, no, I'm still getting it.
You let me know, Bakes. Yeah, I think the Pollard slander coming right away. We should maybe hold a little bit of judgment on him. I'm just kind of really at a loss for words. I got a bunch of points written down here. The one thing I really do want to stress is that I will not drag his name through the mud. We're still getting that echo there, Biggs. I want to remember the good times, and I don't know how far back your season tickets go. I know you've told me numerous times, but I think you said 19, right?
About 4 years. No, not quite. Brock Purdy's last year.
So about
4
5
years
years or so.
Yeah, 4 or 5 years.
I mean, just being, I've only been to a couple games there in the last couple years, and just being there in the stadium, like the atmosphere that comes with it, and the crowd, and just like the whole experience of being able to be there, it's something really special. I don't think that's gonna go away. But Chris Williams said it best tonight. It's definitely gonna look a little different.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And again, I'm looking forward to hearing what Chris had to say. It sounds like he was very, very vulnerable. And obviously, Chris Williams is Iowa State athletics, and I know he's built very close relationships with that staff. I do feel kind of bummed out for Chris, because I know he's got that book coming out, and there's a chapter on Matt Campbell and some of the close calls.
Oh,
that
guess
we've
what?
had.
It's the very first chapter.
Yeah, so that's I'm kind of
the
bummed
very
out for
first
Chris.
sentence in the book is something like, Matt Campbell has passed up so many opportunities. Something, I'm paraphrasing,
man.
but he's passed up so many opportunities to build something at Iowa State, and this is the reason why he's done it so many times. And he said he just got like the first 300 copies of that book.
Yeah,
Yesterday
and I
or
know that
something
we
like
all have copies on the way, so we're looking forward to reading that. But I do feel that's I mean, there's nothing you can do about it, but I'm sure Chris feels a little embarrassed about that. But it is what it is. But yeah, I think that's it's a good way to put it. I think I'd said something along the lines of I kind of lose track of which coaching change it was when it comes to Drake, but I said it might be better, it might be worse, but it's not going to be the same. So we'll just have to see what happens. We'll have to see what's next, and I guess we can kind of transition to what's next in what may have been the shortest coaching search in the history of college sports.
That was really, really quick. That was quick.
It
basically
blew up a whole segment that I had ready to go.
Yeah, I know, right?
Well,
Go ahead, Vicky. We haven't let you.
Before we get into the replacement, the new head coach, you guys were putting together a really, really nice draft class or recruiting class. A lot of different athletes, a lot of speed, a lot of defense of talent. You guys were bringing in 5 guys from the state of Nebraska that were all like highly touted guys. How do you guys feel? Like, you guys gonna be able to retain some of those guys? Do you think they'll be able to transfer to Penn State potentially? What is you guys' feelings on that?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and it's something to kind of look out for. Obviously, they've kind of already made the decision that they're not going to hire within they're going to bring somebody from outside, that kind of already lessens the chance of that happening. But it just kind of depends. As I kind of as I put a tweet out earlier, but I realize it's a little different from basketball. But basically, what I told Cyclone fans was just kind of assume you're going to lose the entire roster and just be pleasantly surprised with anybody who stays. Now, I realize in football, it usually doesn't go that route just because of how many people there are. So I'm just kind of working in the assumption that they're going to lose everybody, and I'll just be pleasantly surprised if anybody stays. You just kind of setting my expectations. I'm sure that Rogers probably has some guys from Washington State that he'll bring along, and I look forward to learning about those people. But yeah, you just kind of have to assume that a lot of those guys that have been signed are probably going to go elsewhere. You hope that you can keep some of the more local guys, like you said. A lot of guys from the state of Nebraska. That'll certainly be an opportunity for Matt Rule to pick up some guys. One name for Nebraska fans to look out for. I would not be surprised to see Ben Bramer playing for the Huskers next year, who is Iowa State's star tight end. He's going to be an NFL guy. There was a tweet earlier that he had entered the transfer portal. I'm not actually sure if that was true, but I'm sure at some point Bramer's going to enter the transfer portal. That's actually something I was worried about happening, even if Campbell had stayed. Is Ben Bramer getting poached somewhere? I think that was probably inevitable. So, yeah, it's going to be a lot of opportunity for a lot of different people, and I'm interested to see how it shakes out, because that's really what it comes down to. It's just we got to let everything shake out. First things first, Campbell's going to need to see how many guys at Penn State kind of shake loose, and how many spots does Campbell have to fill at Penn State, and then Campbell can kind of triage things and decide how many guys he wants to poach at Iowa State. So just kind of a bit of a process. Just it's a trickle down, and we'll just have to see how that works.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Quick shout out to Bars on the Bus. Seen them in the chat. Bars on the Bus.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say something, but we can move on because it ain't important. Why don't you let everyone know what y'all did today, Bakes?
Oh yeah, we went out to a good buddies. Long Bus Short Thoughts. They got a new pod. It's more of like a freestyle based pod. It's called Bars on the Bus. Self-Made was represented there today. It was 7 artists that showed up, and they all showed out. It was an amazing event. I think they're going to be shooting again, I believe on Sunday, and then following the next Friday. So it's going to be a nice little series to watch out for. Bars on the Bus.
I don't have a graphic for them, unfortunately.
No, it's all right. It's all right. It's all brand new. It just started today. We had Chubbs Bumperson. We had Brody One, Kenobi out there. And we also had Crooks. So
my apologies.
Self-Made was well represented. We provided a couple of beats for the artists going forward. So it was great work today, most definitely.
How are the drinks today? He seemed very concerned about how good the drinks were.
They were fucking delicious. Like he makes an excellent bourbon. Like super smooth.
I'm telling you. What'd you guys have for food?
We had cheesy potatoes, corn, and a cherry cobbler.
Ooh,
it was smacking. Most definitely.
All right.
Well, enough of that. Let's get to this new head coach, Jimmy Rogers. What can you guys tell me about him?
Do you want to go, Josh? You want me to take it?
Yeah. So he's a 38-year-old. I believe he's from Wisconsin. JT, I don't know if you can fact check me on that real quick.
I guess he was born in Chandler, Arizona. And I think he went to high school, Hamilton High School, which is Chandler, Arizona. Chandler, Arizona.
Okay.
Be curious if he has any connection to Brock Purdy's family.
Well, I
believe that's where Brock's from.
He's only 38 years old, so he's pretty young.
Yeah.
He came up through the South Dakota State system. 27-3 in his 2 years as a coach there with one national championship, and they lost in the semifinals just last year to North Dakota State, who won the whole thing. And I also wrote down here that today is December 5th. Last year on December 7th, he was coaching a or a second round playoff game at South Dakota State. In that time span, he coached 2 more games for them, went on to coach a full season at Washington State, and now he is the head coach at Iowa State. So a crazy turnaround. And then on top of that, I guess in my personal life, last year at this time, I was hanging out down in Arlington, getting ready to watch Iowa State play Arizona State in the Big 12 championship game. So once again, what a turnaround a year can do for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think some people were a little taken aback, just from how quickly this went down, and I think that might have led to some skepticism. But it's clearly how Pollard likes to handle things. It's very similar to how TJ Otzelberger was hired, and as you had mentioned earlier, Jimmy Rogers would have been at South Dakota State the same time that TJ Otzelberger was there, and Pollard is on record of kind of TJ giving him that stamp of approval. And I'm just going to go ahead and read the direct quote from Jamie Pollard about Jimmy Rogers, because I thought it was some
Good luck with that.
good stuff. Right. He says that Jimmy Rogers is a rising star in college athletics who has very strong ties to the Midwest, both as a player and as a coach. He has been on my short list ever since the first time I met him. He immediately impressed me with his interest in Iowa State University and told me during our first visit several years ago that he wanted to be the next head coach at Iowa State. Since our initial meeting, I've stayed in close contact with him and have been very impressed with his work ethic and understanding of what it takes to be successful at Iowa State. He's a proven winner who has demonstrated throughout his career that he will fit our culture. So you can just see that right away why Jamie Pollard would be allured to him. Jamie has always wanted someone who wanted to be at Iowa State, so you can see how that would interest him. Kind of more on the X's and O's side of things, just from what I've seen, it sounds like that Rodgers is very much a defensive-oriented coach. Whether you think this is a good thing or a bad thing, his South Dakota State teams, kind of in the metrics, have looked very similar to Iowa Hawkeye teams, where kind of top 20 defenses, but not even top 100 offenses. So that'd be kind of interesting to see. But it's clear that he's going to be a defensive oriented coach. I assume that means that he'll kind of run the defense. I don't exactly know how that worked at Washington State. So it seems like the first thing to keep an eye on is who Rodgers is going to hire as his offensive coordinator, because as we've seen kind of with our friends out in Iowa City, it really comes down to having a good offensive coordinator to kind of get things done where maybe you have a little bit of a weakness. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what shakes out there. I'm kind of the understanding that Campbell's obviously, again, just kind of assuming that Campbell's going to take most of his staff to Penn State. One thing I think is interesting, and someone brought this up on Cyclone Fanatic, is I could see Taylor Mauser probably doesn't have the pedigree to be a Big Ten offensive coordinator for a team like Penn State. So I'll be curious to see if Mauser's a candidate to stick around at Iowa State, but we do know how close Mauser is with Campbell. Mauser's has been with Campbell since day one, so it's certainly possible that Mauser takes a little bit of a step down and maybe is the tight ends coach at Penn State or something like that. But that's kind of the next step, is seeing how Rodgers builds his staff, and it'll be interesting to see if there's any carryover from Iowa State.
Yeah, interesting. Of note, Jake Brand reported tonight on the Two Guys live reaction that he pretty much camped out at the at the head offices of the AD all day. Didn't see nothing. Was getting ready to leave around 5 and happened to see Campbell walk in like at the very last second. Said Campbell was in there for about 10 minutes, walked out, didn't say anything, and Mauser walked in right after him. And as Mouse was walking in, Brand said that, he kind of asked him, hey, how's it going? And said he just kind of looked at him blankly and was like, hey, it's going. And it was, I believe it was or Brent believes it was at that time that he was informed that not only was Campbell taking the job at Penn State, but he was not getting the head coaching job, which I kind of feel like he maybe, thought he had a shot for.
Yeah,
Which I
certainly
don't
did.
blame him.
Yeah, I don't either. He was kind of really the only logical choice to kind of carry, even though he's really young, he's really raw. He's really the only name that would have made sense. I mean, obviously John Haycock has been a head coach before, but with his age, and I guess if you allow me to tangent there, one thing that's interesting. Last week we were talking about how it sounds like John Haycock's going to retire.
Oh man!
Now it sounds like that he's going to follow Campbell to Penn State, which I guess it's nobody's fault, but it goes back to not believing everything that you see that's reported, and I don't want to blame people like Chris Williams, because I'm sure but Chris Williams has like always been steadfast that this is John Haycock's last stop. He's not going to go to Campbell wherever he goes, and even going as far as I don't think Williams ever speculated on his retirement, but pretty much, and not even I shouldn't even put that on Williams.
He was devastated on his initial reaction. If you haven't seen it yet,
No, I haven't. I plan on watching that tonight. So.
I was feeling really good after getting off the phone with my dad talking about it, and then I got off the phone with him to watch that, and
I guess
it put me back in a whole different mood. So it was
let's go over to that. I want, since I haven't gotten to hear any of this stuff. Well, what was kind of your thoughts on kind of the reaction from Cyclone Fanatic and Iowa every year, specifically Chris Williams? Or I guess what's kind of your thoughts? Can you kind of surmise what the mood was and what Williams talked about?
He's really hurting right now just because he never really, he obviously knew it was a possibility, but never really saw it, happening, and then happening as quick as it did. Usually you see, something like this kind of coming from a distance before it crescendos, and this just kind of happened so quick. And he said he's built so many close relationships with so many families of people on the team, of coaches, of players. Nobody really knew until we all knew. And he was just kind of really kind of taken back by that. He was just kind of reminiscing a little bit about his time covering him, and then there at the very end, he had to leave to take a phone call so he could talk to someone about the new coach, because as he was sitting there having his reaction, he got a phone call letting him know that they'd got a new head coach already. So, and that makes it even harder to process everything, because you don't even get a chance to be like upset or angry or wonder. Like I told you guys, I had a whole segment put together about who the next coach could be, and as I'm kind of polishing off my notes here, I get a notification that says they have a new head coach, and it wasn't even a guy that I had looked at. So,
it's kind of funny, because I think, like, technically from an accounting stance, I believe Matt Campbell is still employed at Iowa State. Like, Iowa State technically has 2 head coaches right now. It's just it's so funny how that happened. I've never seen
because they can't do anything for 48 hours, right? They have to.
Well, I guess I just assume.
Meet, I think.
Yeah, I just assumed that not everything's like super like official. yet. So obviously Campbell hasn't gone to State College yet. So it's just kind of fun. I mean, it's very very shrewd move by Pollard. I give him credit. It's clear that he's
He had to have
kind of
gone
had
last
this
night.
one. Yeah, yeah, and I don't know. Maybe I've always kind of wondered. I wondered if maybe Pollard, as a favor to Pollard, if Matt kind of let Campbell and Penn State kind of slow play this a little bit, just so that Pollard could work in the shadows as much as he can. I wonder if that's something that happened, and just kind of as a favor to Jamie, if Matt allowed that to be drug out a little bit, because yeah, I guess I'm sure, I don't know if we'll ever find out the true answer, but I would be very curious to find out what the exact timeline was with all of this happening, especially when did
With
Jimmy Rogers
Sataki.
start to.
Or
Yeah,
well,
and
when
that's the
you know
thing.
when did that happen? When did it come out that he was going to stay with BYU? Because Monday or Tuesday night it was Sataki was going to be their coach, and then I guess Crumble Cookies came in at the last second. That's what's floating around the world, and
Yeah.
he kind of threw down the bag for him. What up, Spence? Pull you up here for the boys.
What up, Spence?
What's
Hey,
up,
let's
Spencer?
take a second and give a shout out to our sponsor. Let's pay some bills real quick. Let's give a shout
Hey,
out
there you
to
go.
Hybrid Promotions, Self Made the Label Music, and OTT Records. Um, I need everybody to go ahead and check out Self Made the Label Hybrid.com for all your merch needs. Schedule studio time, follow all the shows, all the concerts, and new music dropping. So check it out at selfmadethelabelhybrid.com. All right, back to you guys.
I appreciate Vic being here. Me and Josh are very emotional right now. We need someone here to steer the ship, and
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you doing that.
No problem. How important was it to get a new head ball coach so quickly? Do you think it was rushed? Did you guys want to see some other names? Talk to me a little bit about that, fellas.
I personally didn't have an issue with it. I think it gives you the best chance at retaining some players, uh, even if it's just a couple of extra guys to decide to stick around. Then it was certainly worth it. I really wasn't that impressed with some of the other names that were out there. So, and I'll be honest, when I first saw Jimmy Rogers' name, I wasn't all that impressed. So I guess I don't have any issues with a quick cutthroat move. I think it gives you the best chance to retain and keep this thing going. Josh, I don't know if you feel
Yeah, what
differently.
about you, Stoneface Slim? You look very distraught right now.
Um, I think if this is the guy that Pollard found this quick, I would imagine he's been on his list or his short list, whatever he wants to call it, that he said he always has in his back pocket every year at this time of the year, just in case. I would imagine he's been on that list for a while. And if he got even, a hint, excuse me, a hint that, this was a possibility of happening, it really is kind of funny that he's from San Diego State and TJ was there the same time he was. And I'm gonna kind of really hang my hat on that. If TJ said go get him, we know what kind of guy TJ is, and if you're gonna do anything to make TJ happy, I mean, JT, you and I talked about it earlier. I mean, at this point, you might as well throw the Brinks truck into Hilton Coliseum there and do whatever you can to go out and win a natty, because it's hard not to think there's gonna be a hard reset in football.
Yeah, and that's one thing with this hire is while I'm sure that Iowa State can continue to be a serviceable college football program, I just don't know if that ceiling is there anymore. And obviously, that's not really fair to say without the staff being in place and without the roster being in place. And
And who knows who
I
they
guess
keep, you know?
some people would argue even a week ago, would this team have a ceiling of the national championship? Is it even in the realm of possibilities? But when you look at the men's basketball team, a national championship is very much in the possibilities. I'm not looking at the odds right now, but I would guess that Iowa State is in the top 10 odds to be a national the national champion in men's basketball, and that's certainly something you got to look at.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and use that to kind of pivot away from our sorrows here, and kind of push it in to greener pastures tomorrow. The Cyclones trudging into Purdue City, as we like to call it here, to face the Boilermakers down there in West Lafayette. Iowa State is a 4.5-point underdog with a 151 over under. I don't know what that means to you guys. I think it's going to be a little more high scoring than that. I mean, you're looking at two high powered offenses here coming into this game. Lipsy is a game time decision for what it's worth. I would expect he's going to play unless he gets ran over by a bus on the way in to the stadium.
Yeah, this is. I don't think. What am I trying to say? It's just it's almost like this men's basketball team has the weight of the Cyclone world on their shoulders tomorrow. This fan base has never needed a win so badly before right now, and unfortunately, it's against the number one team in the nation, in the Purdue Boilermakers. So, yeah, it should be a pretty hopping atmosphere over in West Lafayette. I agree. It sounds like that Lipsey's going to do everything he can to play. I know that he wanted to go up against Braden Smith, who is Purdue's starting point guard. He wanted to have that opportunity to go up against him. It'll be interesting to see the matchup of Blake Buchanan, and of course Oscar Clough is on Purdue. Obviously Oscar Clough chose between Iowa State and Purdue, coming from
wanted him.
Coming from South Dakota State. Yeah, we never wanted him. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be bright and early, 11 a.m. Central Time. Cyclones and Boilermakers. It's going to be a fun one.
Mm-hmm. One question I got.
Go ahead, Josh.
Hold, just 1 second there, Biggs. JT, one question I got for you. Do you believe in the Iowa State transit theory I told you about last year?
Can you refresh our memories?
So you have to give something to get something.
Oh,
I see. You can't win a conference championship and then also be good in basketball, or you can't win a tournament championship and go to the Sweet 16 and then make the playoffs in football, what have you, so on and so forth.
It's interesting. It's kind of a karma argument almost. It's like we're sacrificing Matt Campbell at the stake in order to win against Purdue, and
well, I'm thinking that it goes even higher than that at this point. If that's what we have to give up, we better get something a little more in return.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I don't know if I believe in it, but I hope it's true. We're certainly hurting on the football side of things, and hopefully we make up for it on the basketball side of things.
We're testing the waters on it, that's for sure.
We sure are.
Biggs, go ahead.
Biggs, did you have something?
Oh, yes. I was going to talk about the game. I believe it's going to be a defensive game. And if Iowa State can play that transitional defense that they have shown so far this season, I think you guys have a great chance of winning the game. You really got to win on the glass and that transitional defense. You guys have been getting steals in very gritty ways. You guys have been setting up fast breaks. Mamovich has been nailing threes at a very high clip. Momchilovich.
Mommy.
He said, "Mommy." I truly think you guys can take down the number one team. It's always going to be a target on the number one team's back, and it's a lot of pressure for those guys. So I think all the pressure's on them, not you guys.
Yeah, you're right, and that's where it's so important to have Lipsey, because a lot of those steals that you mentioned were courtesy of Taman Lipsey. One kind of thread that we've had on this podcast is talking about how with the presence of Killian Torrey, Lipsy has been able to play off ball, and he's been able to live in those passing lanes where he can get
Right.
those pick six steals, and like you said, Vic, kind of turn that defense into steals and turn it into transition offense. So yeah, that. I think that just makes it even more critical that Taman Lipsy is good to go. So and like we all said, it sounds like he's going to play. I guess I don't know what percentage he'll be at. Certainly, we're no stranger to Taman Lipsy being a shell of himself, but just hopefully he's good enough to get it done, because it's just a bummer to see him go down when he did.
Yeah, these injuries just always seem to come at the worst times for him. It seems like any time that he kind of starts to get something going, or he's looking better than he ever has, there always just kind of seems to be a little bit of a setback, and you really just want to see someone like him be able to play at full health, full potential, because if he could, he could be a complete game changer and a complete game wrecker for opponents that have to go up against him. And you're kind of seeing his reincarnation here with Torre coming in, who still is only 8 games into his college career, and I don't even know if you can really call 4 of those games actual games, considering that they put up a new school record 132 points and hit a school record 22 threes against Alcorn State the other night. Just couldn't seem to miss, but even down in Maui there, he just kind of really separated himself, at least as far as growth to this point in his young college career.
Yeah, for sure. It'll be interesting to see if he's able to continue that momentum. I think someone said, I think it's probably Williams. I mean, at some point, Toure, he's going to hit a wall. He's going to hit a problem that he won't be able to solve. Hopefully,
Early
it's not
February,
against
book
Purdue.
it.
Yeah. So hopefully, it's not against Purdue, but it certainly could be.
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to kind of point out about this team at this point, we are 8 games into the season. They have faced a little bit of competition. The Ken Palm metrics, basically for the last 20 of 21 years, is a top 21 offense and a top 31 defense. Both of these teams both fall in that category tomorrow, with Purdue being number 1 on offense and the 20th ranked defensive team, and Iowa State being 10th offensively and 7th defensively. They did actually fall a spot here in the last couple of days. They were 4th, with Purdue being 2nd. So I thought it was going to be a nice little aesthetically pleasing 2-4 matchup, but instead it's a 2-5 going into this game tomorrow. JT, Bakes, do you realistically see them coming away with a win here? And if they do, who's going to be the guy to step up to kind of lead the charge?
I mean, yeah, I definitely think it's a realistic possibility. It's certainly going to be tough. I think it comes back to the shooting. I mean, Momcilovic is going to need to continue that shooting streak. So sometimes when you get to the karma stuff, yeah, people were joking with the Alcorn State game, wanted Momcilovic to save some of those threes.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to
So
hear it. I've heard it enough.
That makes me nervous a little bit.
Return
but yeah,
to the
I think
meme.
Iowa
I'm
State.
getting tired of that phrase.
Yeah, I think they can do it. They're just going to need shooting. They're going to need shooting from somebody. It doesn't have to be Momcilovic. They're going to need somebody to hit the threes down there in Mackey Arena.
I mean, Bateman's shown he can do it.
Yeah.
The one thing I like about him so far is that when he gets in the game, he's got a complete green light to shoot whatever the hell he wants to, and I really like that for a guy that might only get 7 or 8 minutes a game. But if you can keep him happy right now, knowing that he's gonna have a starting spot, the following year, or in years to come or a larger role, like that's a guy you want to keep around because if he can shoot like
Yeah.
that now, he's only going to get better.
For sure.
Yeah, Mom Chilovich, he's kind of been very, very streaky this season thus far, but it's good to see him break loose and, start to see some of those baskets go in. And I think that's just going to build confidence. So I think he's going to go on a tear. Maybe not fully tomorrow, but, this part of the season, I think you're going to see some nice stretches where you're going to see some good shooting, some nice ability to set things up and kind of be a force for you guys.
Baby, we're witnessing it right now. He went 8 for 9 the other night.
Hmm.
Yeah, and
I
that's the
can't
thing.
remember.
Even if I guess I was just gonna say, like, it's not the only big game Iowa State has this week, I guess, but by the time we next see each other, they've got the big
I didn't
matchup
even think about
against
that.
Iowa.
Oh man.
Hmm.
So we might want to touch on that a little bit. I will be in the house. I think I'll be in literally the last row of Hilton Coliseum. So those watching on TV will probably have a little better view than me, but it's certainly going
Tap
to
one
be
of those
a
banners
highly
for me while you're up there.
no, right. It's kind of both teams could be kind of walking into that game in a very similar situation. Obviously, Ben McCollum and the Iowa Hawkeyes saw their first loss at the hands of a very good Michigan State team, so that they got humbled a little bit. Certainly, Iowa State could be looking at the same thing if they do happen to get humbled by Purdue. So it'll be interesting to see how that matchup goes. Probably one of the most anticipated matchups, Cyhawk men's basketball matchups in a few years. So I'm really
In
interesting to
some
see.
years, for sure.
Yeah, obviously, probably within a few years ago, those were still popping. So that's going to be interesting to see the big Taman Lipsy versus Bennett Sturts matchup. That's where I'm even more bummed that Lipsy's probably not going to be 100% for that matchup. It would have been fun to see those two go head to head with Lipsy full strength. But I'm sure Lipsy's gonna do his best against one of the biggest stories in college basketball right now, and that's the upstart Iowa Hawkeyes.
Yeah, they're looking. They were looking all right until they kind of ran into Michigan State, but Michigan State kind of seems like they're on a different type of mission this year. They kind of beat the brakes off them and got ahead of them really early, and it was never really a game.
Yeah, it's just I know that people were excited that Iowa started out 7-0, but they just hadn't played anybody. Even some of those Power Five teams like Ole Miss that they had played, they're not very good ranking wise. It's
Hey, that's
just
like saying that Mississippi State win for Iowa State's a good win.
yeah, exactly. So it's just kind of the deal. But once you start to play those better teams, you see what they're made of. So it's gonna be a it's gonna be a it's gonna be a big one next Thursday.
Speaking of big games, Bakes Sunday down in Lincoln, Creighton, Nebraska.
Yeah, that's going to be a big game. It is a interstate rivalry.
Is it
Uh,
Nebraska's
Creighton, nor-
time?
Creighton normally tightens us up a little bit. I think this is going to be more of an even matchup than it has been in the last few seasons. Nebraska's been winning some very, very tough games. They've been showing grit. Uh, they've been shooting the ball well from the bigs all the way to the guards. Defense, got Hoiberg out there stirring things up, getting steals. Um, I'm just looking forward to. I'm kind of torn because yes, I'm a Nebraska fan first, but you got to root for Creighton as well. So, I mean, this is all we got. We don't have no professional sports. So, the football in Nebraska and the basketball teams and volleyball is like literally what we have here in Nebraska. So, I'm just looking for a good game. I'm hoping that the Huskers do pull it out for the Cornhuskers' sake, but I'm just interested in watching a good game. I know Creighton's been struggling. They've been losing to people they most definitely should be beating.
Yeah, they have.
Um, I just think they're just going through some woes. It's like I said, it's early. They're going to sneak in and get some big wins in the middle of the season. I just hope that doesn't happen this weekend. So, yeah.
I only root for Creighton because They took Greg McDermott from us,
Hmm.
which is one of the greater days of
connection.
my life.
You out of
That was
control.
that was one of the greater days of my life. Never forget it. Reading that tweet in 10th grade history class. It was a sweet moment. But I root for Nebraska because I've learned to enjoy this place, and you
Yes.
can't enjoy it fully if you don't embrace them, because then nobody's gonna like you. Even though nobody likes you anyways, so it's kind of a double entendre.
Yeah, you've gotten away with a lot of Iowa State stuff, but at the same time, I've grown to watch Iowa State through you, and I've been to the big games. It's
Couple
been an
big
interesting
games.
ride, man. Yeah, a couple big games.
Swinging it back
I
to
don't know.
basketball real quick. We didn't talk about the most important guy on the team right now. Currently second in the Naismith trophy list according to Ken Palm, Mr. Joshua Jefferson. And these numbers are actually not updated. He's currently
Yeah,
averaging
no,
18.4, 7.2, and 5.6.
no, he's looking good out there, man. He's taking care of business, shooting the ball well. He's making plays. He's rebounding the ball extremely well, which is really, really surprising, in my opinion.
He just looks so uninterested in everything that he does.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah,
how
he's very
Halliburton looked,
casual.
He's
and
very
look how he
stoic.
turned out.
He's very stoic with like his emotions until you can until they'll cut to him on the the media timeouts every now and then, and guys will kind of get in his face, and then you'll kind of see him smile a little bit, but he's just always so stoic and like so cool on the court. Like it's I don't know, it's something different to watch. It's really special.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see if, because Jefferson's very, very firmly in that Player of the Year conversation. I certainly hope for all those involved that he kind of stays in that. That'd be fun to have a guy continue to get national looks like Jefferson is. And again, I I want to give Jefferson a lot of credit because obviously there was a time in the offseason where we thought we were going to lose Joshua Jefferson to LSU, and
Oh,
of
another DEF
course,
CON moment.
yeah, of course you give credit to Brent Bloom and the Cyclone donors and the Wheel Will Collective, but you give the ultimate credit to Jefferson because while he certainly got more money from Iowa State, it wasn't anywhere near what LSU was offering him. So as we've seen time and time again with these Iowa State student athletes, these high character guys that are willing to take a little less to be a part of something that they feel like they can thrive in and they can have success with. And so I give Jefferson a lot of credit for sticking through it, and he's certainly reaping the benefits and is kind of the X factor for this team.
Oh yeah, him being there down the stretch is going to be everything. Obviously, you need your shooters, and you kind of need everyone else to be healthy. But I think without him, man, you lose a lot of the things that you can do. Just even some of the passes that he'll randomly throw in the middle of a game. Sometimes it I mean, you lose that, you kind of lose a little, as so like they call it in football, a little bit of a wrinkle in the offense. So I guess we're gonna find out what they're made of tomorrow. We're gonna see.
Yeah, we sure are.
We're gonna see what's really going on. Quick side note before we move on. Iowa State, for the first time, JT, since we were in grade school, has beaten the Iowa Hawkeyes in wrestling. 21 years, 21 straight years, they had lost to them in dual meets, and they finally recaptured that on Sunday.
Yeah, I don't follow wrestling really that
No, I
closely
don't
at all,
either,
but I
brother.
know I know this was a big one. a big one for Iowa State. So I'm happy for those that partake in that culture, because I know it's a big deal here in the state of Iowa.
It looked like it was pretty lit there in Hilton.
Yeah, I think it does.
With that leading into our next conversation, here is our current playoff picture. While Iowa State was winning a wrestling match on Sunday, I had the pleasure of watching the Rams lose to the goddamn Panthers.
I told you, man. I warned you.
You did too.
I did.
Son of a
Those
bitch.
Panthers are frisky.
Well, JT, I don't like either of our matchups. Bakes, I don't like your matchup because it's my matchup.
Well,
Where'd you go at last year?
Okay, yeah, that was. All right, I'll just kind of take over. Yeah, obviously I never liked the idea of playing the Philadelphia Eagles, but I guess when it's the playoffs, you're pretty much always gonna face a good team, unless you're playing the Seahawks. I wouldn't mind playing the Seahawks, but yeah, I don't. I guess really, obviously, I'm more focused on that big matchup on Sunday where the Packers play the Bears. It's going to be a highly touted matchup that's going to influence the seeding quite a bit. It's kind of crazy to see the Bears as the number one seed in the NFC. They've had such mediocre quarterback play. You give Ben Johnson, got to give Ben Johnson some credit there.
He's doing it again.
Getting that team. Yeah, he is. But let's hopefully he's facing a reckoning on Sunday. I know that the Packers coaching staff is very motivated. Team, obviously, Ben Johnson kind of had some pointed things to say about Matt LaFleur and his staff when Johnson was kind of riding the adrenaline high of being hired. He kind of said some things in some of his introductory interviews that he probably shouldn't have, and it's clearly created some bulletin board material for the Green Bay Packers staff. And not that you need any extra motivation when it's Packers Bears, but hopefully that little added juice pushes the Packers over the line.
Yeah, it's funny you say that you don't like any matchup when you get to the playoffs. Well, there's kind of a reason for that. I wasn't really a fan of adding that seventh team. At first, those first couple years, it seemed like it was too much, but it really kind of seems like the talent gap in the NFL has really closed a lot. And you could probably point to several different factors of why that possibly is, but I mean, the glass half full response would be that the league's never been more competitive, rather than trying to call it the other way. It is weird seeing the Bears up there as the number one overall seed. That just doesn't really seem right.
Yeah.
And then everybody else pretty much in those bottom six slots there in the wet, or excuse me, in the NFC are basically your usual suspects.
sorry, fellas.
All good, brother.
Yeah, my headphones died. I had to grab the second pair. My
Oh
apologies.
man.
But
And
we're
then
back. We're back.
we're just kind of discussing, kind of this kind of what we're looking at through 13 weeks here right now. What kind of stands out to you other than the Bears being the one seed in the NFC? You can't say that. We both said that already.
Well, I'm just looking at the Bears being able to win games without, really good quarterback play. Seems like the defense and some lucky breaks. I don't know. I'm not a Bears fan. I'm not going to pretend to be.
Oh, most of my family is.
It's just really surprising to see them up there. I mean, they're obviously earning their keep, but I truly feel like they're paper champions at this point. They're not built to win a Super Bowl or go on a deep playoff run.
Bix,
Yeah,
I don't mean to cut you off, JT. You will take some solace in knowing that half of my family that are Bears fans are already preparing themselves for imminent letdown in the playoffs. So,
Yeah, you're hearing a lot of that paper tiger talk when it comes to the Bears. I'm not comfortable saying it myself as a Packers fan because it's I just don't want to mess with the vibes. But it's nice when other people say it. So I certainly feel that could be the case, and I hope it is.
But as far as the AFC for me, I'm very, very impressed that the Jaguars are in the position that they're
yeah.
in, without really showing anything really, really successful out there. I mean, this is a couple teams that we've been speaking about. These teams are winning games, and it's kind of shocking to see because, like, what are they doing that that is really putting them in these positions? But it's good to see the Jaguars be in the position that they're in right now.
Yeah, you could say that about 3 teams there in the AFC. Maybe even man, the Ravens are back in it. Man, I didn't even see them sneak in down there. What the hell?
But can Lamar Jackson get it done? Can
No,
those
he
boys
can't
come
because my
together?
fantasy team isn't going to make the playoffs, so he couldn't get shit done this year, unfortunately. I'm sorry, Lamar.
Josh, this has nothing to do with your fantasy team and how you make the playoffs. We're talking about real football, not real football stats.
Well, we're trying to
You
defend
know,
championships over here, too.
look, I would love for you to win a championship every year, but let's just keep it real, bro.
This just wasn't the year.
It just doesn't always happen, my man. And ironically, the year you do win in fantasy sports, they try to discredit your championship run.
Yep. They couldn't do that in that other league. They had to pay
Yeah,
me my money. Give me my money.
most definitely.
And how the hell are the
All right, what
Chargers
else we
in
got?
there?
Harbaugh. I'll tell you right now, it's Harbaugh.
I ain't got no more graphics. Unless you guys got some things you want to talk about.
Well, I would like to talk about the charity that we're doing in
Yes, talk about that. Let me see if I can pull something
literally
up.
in about a week here. So Midwest Nice. We got about 5 companies coming together. Everyone's doing a different charity. We're doing the Living Hope Food Pantry. I know Loud Pack, they got something going on. I know Straw and Nice Enough. Uh, they're doing like independent family charity. Rasta Free doing an independent family charity. We're just all coming together, just trying to raise awareness, feed our neighborhood, and just try to do better for everyone. Josh, you'll be a part of that, performing with the self-made team.
Yes, sir.
Are you excited about it?
I'm very excited about it. We're like you said, we're taking donations, not just for us, but for anybody, any artist that you want to come out and support. We're just trying to raise as much money for the community as we can. Trying to hope everyone has a good Christmas. You know, even if you can't give a lot, giving a little can go a long ways, especially this time of the year with
Yeah,
everything
the
being more
self-made team.
expensive.
We actually raised up about upwards to about $85 so far. We still got about a week to go, so really gonna try to ramp that up and see if we can get some more donations in. But like I said, we're giving all our proceeds that we get. We're giving it all to the Living Hope Food Bank here in Benson, Omaha, Nebraska. So that's just really exciting.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. You want to tell them one more time what day, what time that is?
Midwest Nice, December 11th. Doors open at 7. Show starts at 8. Omaha, come out, show love, donate, and rock out with us and have a good night.
Absolutely. Hey, before we get out of here, real quick, shout
Oh,
out
there he is.
to our boy Alex McKinney. What's going on,
What's up,
brother?
Alex?
I'll be in town for Christmas. We need to get a beer. You can't back out of that. I'm gonna hold you to
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
it.
Get the gang back together.
Damn right.
The boys are
Um,
back in town.
Either you two got anything else you wanna get off your chest? Anybody wanna give a little closing monologue? I'm really gonna try and close the Campbell thing right here, and you know, leave it.
Yeah,
At
no,
that.
All right.
I'm basically what I'm gonna do after this. I'm gonna probably run down to Quick Trip and buy an alcoholic beverage. And I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna watch this Chris Williams reaction. Gonna watch the Jamie Pollard interview. Gonna watch the two guys instant reaction, and then do my best to move on with Matt Campbell and enter this new stage of our Iowa State fan lives.
All right, Josh, before you go ahead and close her out, I want to give another shout out to our sponsors, Hybrid Promotions, OTT Records, Self-Made the Label Music. Like I said, go to www.selfmadeTheLabelHybrid.com for all your merch needs. Follow our fan page. Use a code JT, Selfmade JT, for a 15% discount. You can also use a code, Slim, or it's actually SJ, Selfmade, for a 15% discount at selfmadethelabelhybrid.com.
Check it out.
Word
Check
up.
it out today. Gentlemen, I'm gonna kind of close it out here. I'm gonna give us a eulogy on kind of on the Matt Campbell period, and then we'll say our goodbyes. That cool with y'all?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Well, here we are, Iowa State, looking for something to search for as a bright light. I think the most important things we need to remember are the good times that we had while he was here. I'm speaking specifically of the OU went on the road back when they were, 30-point underdogs. The West Virginia game with the Juicy Wiggle for the first time, that kind of showed itself. The KSU all-black comeback there in the fourth quarter. The TCU Brees game, the snow game, all the games against Iowa, the 24 season as a whole, the 2020 season as a whole. This is a defining moment, I think, for a lot of Iowa State fans. It's going to show your true colors. You can either be thankful of Campbell, or you can be bitter. And if you're bitter, then you were never really with us in the first place, because we were here long before Campbell. We'll be here long after Campbell. Thankful for what he did, as many of us are. But it's time to close the chapter on that book. Welcome into town, Jimmy Rogers. With that being said, I am Slim. For my co-hosts tonight, JT and Young Bakes. Thank you for tuning in to Friday Night Live on the Self-Made Sports Network. As Young Bakes mentioned, brought to you by Hybrid Promotions and sponsored by Self-Made, the label. Thank you, guys. Remember, keep your heads up.